Hello again, everyone, and thanks for joining us now for this Sunday's edition of Alaska Weather. I'm meteorologist Dave Percy. On the hazardous weather graphic, less than what we had yesterday illuminated here. That's right there is the only advisory out, and that's a wind chill advisory for Valdez to Thompson Pass, and that's out through tomorrow afternoon, or actually through noontime tomorrow, for wind chills occasionally reaching 45 degrees below zero with gusty winds, gusting as high as 40 miles an hour in some areas at times. Otherwise, no advisories, warnings, watches out for the interior of the state or for the panhandle, for that matter, or out here in the west. And big storm. There are storm warnings in the marine zones out here due to this system coming into the western Aleutians with the front pushing eastward to just west of Adak at about 3 p.m. this afternoon. And winds ahead of that, southerlies, south-southeast winds, 50 to 55 miles an hour in gusts occurring both at Adak and Atka, and about half an inch of rain falling today at Adak in the form mostly of rain. Behind the front, much colder air again rushing in behind it, and the bent back occlusion here catching shimmy in Attu, getting gusts in excess of 70 miles an hour out of the west with snow falling at Shimya. Otherwise, kind of a break here over the Pribilofs today. They dropped down to about just above 10 above zero with the clearing skies there, but so you can see a band of clouds moving in now. And also a break here over the Alaska Peninsula, Fox Islands. This right through here, that band of moisture was what was a pretty good storm yesterday. That's really weak and dissipated as it was expected to as it moved into the southwest coast. That brought about 1 to 3 inches of snow roughly in areas of the Alaska Peninsula and up across the southwest interior today, but that whole thing really weakening, snow becoming even lighter and a little more intermittent there. Some clouds here around Kodiak Island. Otherwise, mostly clear, variably cloudy and quite cold again. Some areas over the eastern interior, anywhere from 40 to 50 degrees below zero earlier this morning, and still some areas hanging a little below zero, like around the greater Chicken area there. Mid-minus 30s this afternoon, the Fairbanks area with below zero readings all the way up to the Arctic coast. And I'm putting this in motion. There are some clouds. You can see the movement right there, keeping the temperatures up from what they otherwise would be if there were no clouds. But the white here, that's just because the ground is so cold. And then you get a little farther to the south, core temperatures above zero along the North Gulf Coast, and some clearing skies, pretty prevalent here right into Cook Inlet and the Kenai Peninsula, Madanuska-Susitna Valley areas. And then all this moisture here staying east of the Panhandle became very closely to clouds, but Stewart didn't report any snow at all today. Temperatures in the mid-20s there. That low center pulling up into British Columbia. And pretty good conditions, but windy over the northern Panhandle. Let's see, Eldred Rock had 52 mile per hour wind gusts today, while Bishop Point, or Point Bishop, had southeast of Juneau there had 55 mile per hour wind gusts. And also, let's see, Five Finger Lighthouse had 50 mile an hour wind gusts as well, which is farther to the south, more in the mid area there. So pretty windy channeled winds, outflow winds, cold temperatures. Temperatures in the 15 to 20 degree range up Lynn Canal, Klondike Highway towards Skagway, and pretty chilly all the way down toward Dixon Entrance. Also some, again, the channeled winds for the wind chill advisory there for northeast Bristol Bay, and some outflow winds, Copper River Delta. Nothing too terribly strong. Otherwise, cold high pressure dominating the interior here that's situated, one there over the Mackenzie River Delta, and then the other center back toward Wrangell Island, but generally an area of ridging here. Kind of a weakness coming down from the north. They're bringing some light snow flurries and patchy areas of fog from actually New Ixit all the way over to Barter Island, Kaktovik. And then this is the system here. It brought the light snow weakening considerably, and the big storm out over the Bering Sea with the 70 plus mile per hour wind gusts over the western Aleutians. And then the warmer temperatures ahead of the front, producing rain and snow mix there, Adak and Atka, with 55 mile per hour wind gusts. That front continues to weaken as it pushes in toward the Fox Islands. So you won't be seeing 50 to 60 mile an hour wind gusts as that rolls in. Could see gusts of 50 early on there for Nikolsky, but anyway, kind of a rain and snow situation coming in all the way up to the Pribilof Islands. Increase in the winds, but nothing significant, too significant. Main low center pulls northward out there, so winds will diminish slowly over the western Aleutians, but surges of snow showers and snow will be coming in from the west-southwest, and you'll get something of a break, just isolated showers for Adak and Atka. Clear and cold again over interior Alaska for tonight. Temperatures anywhere from 30 to 50 degrees below zero, eastern interior up to the north, especially in the clear areas. This system hangs together but continues to weaken. Band of light snow associated with it coming into northeast Bristol Bay up into possibly Sleepmute, Aniak, scattered showers for the peninsula, cloudy skies, Kodiak, and still kind of a tight gradient, so outflow winds. Again, the Thompson Pass into Valdez area, North Gulf Coast, Copper River Delta. Stays pretty breezy over the Panhandle. Weak low pressure forming off the coast here. This moisture stays to the east. I don't think it'll get in. It possibly could get some brief light flurry into the Stewart-Hyder area, but that'll mostly stay to the east. But these snow shower activity off the coast tonight will actually may drift inland and catch Mount Edgecombe, Sitka, Port Alexander with some light snow shower activity, as well as Yakutat, maybe Elfin Cove. Otherwise, inland stays dry, and farther east you get, the better you see some clearing. Otherwise, this system slowly edging eastward. Weak low develops here as it passes just east of Kodiak. So look for some snow showers late tonight and early tomorrow for Kodiak Island. Back up to the northwest, across southern Kenai Peninsula, Kamishak Bay, Homer, Seldovia, those areas, Iliamna, back into the central Alaska range. Maybe Sparavon, some light snow. Break behind that, and then this snow with that weakening front pushes onto the coast. Light snow here with a little bit of an increase in the winds there for the area from Cape Newenham to Macoriac. Otherwise, clear and cold in the interior. Cold upper low starting to drop down from the north, so that'll kind of keep the fog, low clouds, flurries going central eastern Beaufort Sea coastline. Lots of shower activity out here with a broad area of southwest wind flow into the Bering Sea and the Aleutians. Rain and snow showers here, Adak and Atka over to the Fox Islands. West of Amchitka, snow showers. And then the outlook for Tuesday, a couple of lows here over the northwest Bering Sea. Continued surges of cold air coming out of the Sea of Okhotsk and off Kamchatka Peninsula, so periods of snow into the western Aleutians. Snow showers, Adak and Atka. Narrow band here bringing light snow possibly east of Atka, kind of between Atka and Nikolsky. Otherwise, Fox Island could be partly cloudy, as well as the Pribilofs, another break there. And some light snow, remnant snow from that what was a front here over the southwest interior. A little bit better chance of clouds and some light snow for the southern Kenai Peninsula, Prince William Sound, southern Cook Inlet into Kamishak Bay, and Kodiak there. Southeast flow, east-southeast flow, bringing a little bit of moisture up in the form of rain or snow in the afternoon there. On the east side of the island mainly, otherwise breezy and mostly clear for the Panhandle. Very cold over the northern interior, the chance of snow here on the eastern Beaufort Sea coast. Lows for tonight, again, anywhere from 30 to 50 below zero, eastern, northeast interior areas with well below zero for the Arctic coast, and even back below zero, 0 to 20 below here. Maybe even 25 below again for the Susitna Valley around Willow and up to Talkeetna. And the Kenai Peninsula definitely dropping below zero. Lows near 20 for Kodiak Island. Single numbers, northern Panhandle to 15 to 20 down to the south, warmest along the coast. Lower 30s for the Aleutians. And the highs fall below zero in the north, and that follows into Tuesday.
And now, aviation weather around Alaska.
Band of IFR moving eastward and dissipating across the eastern Bering Sea here. Patch IFR, northern Kuskokwim Bay, and then another band out there farther to the west, just passing Shimianatu. Otherwise, a pretty good VFR in the interior, some marginal VFR up here over the east side, and central Brooks Range on out to the Arctic coast in areas. But VFR, Copper River Basin, Susitna Valley, Kenai Peninsula, Prince William Sound, all the way down the southeast coast with some marginal stuff in the Gulf. That shifts up into Yakutat tomorrow afternoon. Also some marginal VFR pushes into Prince of Wales Island. Otherwise, the remainder of the Panhandle VFR. Most of the interior VFR, but moisture coming in from the southwest here lowers the ceilings and visibilities along the Alaska Range actually by probably mid-morning into the afternoon, and still good up here to the north. Marginal VFR a little more widespread for the North Slope and Arctic coast areas, and this IFR band, south of St. Lawrence Island, Nunivak Island to Cape Newinam, marginal VFR inland, almost to the Kuskokwim Valley, and then just a narrow band out there over the west central Aleutians. That expands for Tuesday morning quite a bit, almost triples in size here over the Adak-Atka area, marginal back to the west, some VFR here to the east. Pretty good band of IFR now along the southwest coast, including Nunivak Island down to the Alaska Peninsula, south shore of St. Lawrence Island, but the Bering Strait northward VFR, marginal VFR North Slope, eastern Beaufort Sea coast, good VFR over the central eastern interior, including the Matanuska-Susitna Valley, Copper River Basin, and some marginal VFR trying to get into southern Prince William Sound, but not quite making it. Definitely, though, into southern Cook Inlet, Kenai Peninsula, Kodiak, and the southern Panhandle. And for the afternoon, continuing to see conditions deteriorate here over the southwest interior, northward across Norton Sound to the south coast of the Seward Peninsula, into the Kuskokwim Valley. Now we've got marginal VFR all of Cook Inlet up into the valleys, and still VFR Copper River Basin, marginal VFR though Prince William Sound, some IFR around Montague Island, marginal eastward to near Yakutat, but the Panhandle VFR, east side VFR. Passes Anaktuvuk, VFR possibly becoming marginal. Same forecast for Adigan, again possibly becoming marginal at times during the day. And for Lake Clark and Merrill, marginal VFR, rainy, starting out VFR, becoming marginal later on, and windy VFR, Isabel VFR, and Mentasta also VFR, and Tanita looking good tomorrow, VFR flying. Portage, another day of VFR conditions. Chilkoot and White, good VFR. Freezing levels here at the surface, Alaska Peninsula, east side of Kodiak Island, and hugging the North Gulf Coast once again, and then down the outer coastline of the Panhandle, but kind of making a surge northward here, at least at the surface, 2,000 feet, still off the chart there. So it'll be above freezing here for the central eastern Aleutians up to the Pribilofs, and then staying below freezing there, Nunivak Island up towards St. Lawrence Island. Icing, that weakening front pushing eastward here, just kind of a band of possible isolated moderate rime icing here, maybe along the southwest coast, above about 3,000 feet there, St. Matthew Island down across the Pribilofs. This will be exiting the eastern Aleutians early on in toward the Alaska Peninsula, icing free central interior Kodiak all the way up to the Arctic coast. And another batch possibly, really just a slight chance for the central southeast coast, and then back up toward Cape Yakataga over toward Yakutat, but east of Prince William Sound. Jet stream, kind of a weak ridging coming in tomorrow here with this upper level low, really not moving a whole lot over the Yukon. This one up here to the north, that's going to slowly drop southward and should be over the Kobuk Valley come Wednesday night, and that'll keep interior areas quite cold here through at least most of this upcoming week. 9,000 feet, we've got south-southwesterlies 35 to 55 knots here into the Bering Sea, then going southeast over the northern Bering. Southwest only 15 to 20 here over the interior, turning east on the north side, but quite light. Southwest 20 into the Panhandle. 3,000 feet, lighter winds, weak low in the Gulf of Alaska, 5 to 15 knot winds to the southeast coast, and 5 to 15 over the interior. Up to 50 knots in advance of that next front over the central Aleutians. Otherwise, southerlies 35 to the southwest coast. Maybe some moderate chop to go with that up to St. Lawrence Island, just isolated areas over the Alaska and Aleutians.
Welcome back to another edition of Alaska Weather Facts. I'm Dave Snider, and joining me today is Cindy Preller. She's the Tsunami Program Manager for Alaska Region's National Weather Service. And Cindy, we hear a lot about tsunamis in the news, probably a lot more than we used to, but let's remind everybody, what is a tsunami?
Thanks for having me, Dave.
Sure.
Tsunami is basically, it's really simple. It's just a disturbance in the water column. So the entire water column from the seafloor to the sea surface is disturbed by something major. Usually a major earthquake. But it can also be a volcanic eruption, even an asteroid. Landslide is especially dangerous.
Okay, so if I'm sitting in my bathtub and I drop a bath toy, that could be a bathtub tsunami.
It is absolutely a bathtub tsunami.
Okay, very good. So Alaska is one of the states, or maybe the state, with the greatest amount of coastline. So tsunamis are a pretty major risk here in Alaska. Who is most at risk?
Yeah, Alaska is significant. We actually make most of the Pacific's tsunamis.
Wow, okay.
On the Aleutian Trench. And it's where the Pacific plate is subducting underneath the American plate. And we produce some very large, great quakes. And of course, the most at risk is the Aleutian Trench.
Okay.
But that extends into south central Alaska as well. They're at huge risk. And then southeast Alaska's risk is really mostly landslide focused.
Okay. Are there any places along the Alaskan coastline that don't have a tsunami risk, or at least a very, very low risk?
Absolutely. The Bering Sea's risk is very low, and the Arctic's risk is very low as well.
Okay, so when we're talking about tsunami dangers, those are places that need to be monitored, but probably not really.
No, I mean, I won't say never.
Yeah, sure.
Because I know better.
Science knows better.
Right. So,
very good.
Near to never.
Okay. Well, let's just say you're on the coast, anywhere in Alaska. What are warning signs that tsunami dangers are threatening you right now?
This is super important because Alaska's greatest risk, especially out on the Aleutians and South Central, is a near-field tsunami, and then of course the landslides in southeast. It's even more intense because we can't.
Shorter warning time.
No warning time.
Okay.
The earthquake is the warning.
Okay.
And that is the most important thing for anybody to remember. The water can arrive in less than 2 minutes.
2 minutes. Wow.
Yeah, at the National Tsunami Warning Center in Palmer, we need to get the warning out in 5 minutes. So for those near-field tsunamis, it's the earthquake is the warning. So if you feel shaking, and of course the first thing you do is drop, cover, and hold, and you need to start counting slowly to 20.
The right way. How do you do that?
Oh, I teach kids to do it with their favorite things. So 1 chocolate, 2 chocolate, 3 chocolate, but you can count anything you like. And if you're thinking of something happy, that helps. Especially helps kids, but it'll help your psyche.
So you don't speed up because you're getting stressed out.
Right. It actually lowers your heart rate.
Interesting.
You know, so if you think of something you love and practice that. So you're in an earthquake, you're under the table, you're next to the ocean. Right. This is important if you're next to the ocean. If you're not next to the ocean, don't worry about it. Just stay in place undercover.
And you're talking about a mile, a quarter mile? What's close?
A mile, even a couple miles. You know, our rule of thumb used to be a mile inland was safe, but the last few tsunamis have taught us otherwise. So, yeah, you know, in Japan we had an inundation up to 10 miles. So.
And that was a big quake.
That was a big quake.
So you have a quake, you're counting slowly to 20.
To 20.
What's next?
And if you get to 20 and it's still shaking, you need to evacuate.
Okay.
And that is, that's scary.
Yeah.
Because you're evacuating in a live event that's still shaking. You know, 1964 shook for 4.5 minutes. Indonesia shook for 12 minutes.
Wow. Right.
Japan, I think, shook for 6. I'm not sure of that, but it was long. Anyway, more than 20 seconds.
And that's a sign of a very major earthquake, the worst.
Well, 20 seconds is a magnitude 7, so that's not the worst. But what a magnitude 7 can do is trigger a landslide. And those landslides might be a submarine landslide, so you won't see it, you won't hear it, you won't know it, and then the water's moving. So that's really, really, really dangerous. That's what happened in '64 first. Seward, Valdez, Whittier all had landslides first.
And when you're talking about the water is a warning sign too. What happens with the water that gives you a very easy visual sign that something's changing? Not
guaranteed. It might go out. It might go way out really fast enough to leave the fish behind. But that's not guaranteed. It might just be a fast flood instead. So either way, if it's acting like a super fast rising tide, faster than a tide should rise, get out of there. And if it goes out really fast, get out of there. You know, we lost a lot of lives because people will go check out the new tide pools or pick up fish or shells or, you know, so, and it should feel weird. You know, it should be weird.
So pay attention to those natural warning signs and how you feel, because those are maybe the only clues you have.
Right, and you know, sound also. You can hear a tsunami. It'll sound like a roaring train maybe. Or it might sound silent because the water's been pulled out. And that's pretty weird. Imagine camping at night near the beach and all of a sudden you don't hear the ocean anymore.
That would be different.
That would be weird. Yeah.
Okay.
And then you also might hear blowing bubbles, and that's actually from the pressure that's blowing the air out from the sand grains, rock grains. So if you hear blowing bubbles, that's a little weird.
Okay.
Or clinking rocks, you know, like a rain stick. So those are the sound signs. So the visual is rushing in or rushing out, and roaring especially.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it takes a lot of work to get people and keep people aware of what the tsunami warning signs are and what their risks are around Alaska. And there's a website that can help them do that. Where can they go online to get more information for their school, their home, their church, their business?
Oh, there's several. The National Tsunami Warning Center has a website as well, and the easiest way to look that up is just NTWC.
NTWC.
The URL is not intuitive at all.
Okay.
There's also ready.alaska.gov. The state of Alaska has a lot of helpful stuff. Preparedness kits. They have everything you need to get ready.
Okay.
And then for teachers and others, there's a wonderful curriculum called Alaska Tsunami Education Program.
Alaska Tsunami Education Program. Okay.
And that's AKwx.
AKwx. Okay, very good. Those are really good tips to get more information and search that out and help your own community stay safe with the threat of tsunamis around Alaska. Next time we come back and talk to you some more about the Tsunami Ready program and get more in depth on how people can learn more about the risks and what to do here in Alaska. So thank you for joining us today, Cindy. And next time on Alaska Weather Facts, more on tsunamis around Alaska. We'll see you next time.
And now, marine weather around Alaska.
Welcome back. Sea ice analysis continuing to move west and southwest here, the main edge, and still a little bit of an increase. Really not much change in Bristol Bay from yesterday. Ice continuing to move southward in Cook Inlet, and we're about close to 90% of normal for sea ice coverage this time of year out in the Bering Sea. So it's been quite a comeback over the last month. Moving on to coastal water forecast. Southeast 10 pretty light there along Prince of Wales Island, but southeast 25, turn east 25 for the north coast. Seas 7 feet. Gust 45 knots out of the north for Lynn Canal again tomorrow. And north 25, Stevens Passage. Southeast 15 for Clarence Strait. And then the following day, north 20 for Clarence Strait. Small craft advisories for both Lynn Canal and Stevens Passage. And hanging on to those higher gusts there in northern Lynn Canal, especially like Eldred Rock, those areas. East-northeast 20. Small craft advisories on the south coast. Prince William Sound, northeast at 10. East-northeast 10 to 15 for the North Gulf Coast, but channeled area seeing gusts 30 knots. That same thing going on in Prince William Sound as well. And Cook Inlet, northeast 10 to 20, all the way down to Kamishak Bay, northwest 15 for the Barrens. Those turn southeast on Tuesday, northeast 25, Kamishak Bay, south of the Forelands and Cook Inlet, north side there, northeast 15. Same thing for Prince William Sound. Southeast 20 for the eastern North Gulf Coast, northeast at 20 for the west side with seas at about 5 feet. Variable winds there, Kodiak Island. The west side mostly west at 15 knots, otherwise variable to east for Shelikof Strait. And south-southeast 30 knots for the Alaska Peninsula, seas 7 to 11 feet, east at 20 for Bristol Bay. Outlook for Tuesday. On the Bering Sea side of the peninsula, north winds at 15, but the south side, east at 20, turn southeast, Castle Cape to Sitkinak, 20 knots, seas 11 feet, 15 knot east-southeasterlies for Kodiak Island. And for the Fox Islands, we've got gale warnings specifically for Unalaska Island. Actually, both Unamak and Unalaska Island, southwest 35 knots. Small craft advisory, southwest 30 knots. Adak and Atka, seas 12 to as high as 21 feet, Pacific side. And gales increase as you head west there from Amchitka on out to Shimei and Attu, 35 to 40 knots with 20 to 25-foot seas. And then for Tuesday, small craft advisories out here, seas just under 20 feet way out west, and west-southwest 35 knots for the central Aleutians, or 30 to 35 knots, and 20 to 30 knot winds from kind of varying directions there for the Fox Islands. And for the southwest coast, easterly winds 25 to 30 knots. So we've got brisk wind advisories north of Nunivak Island, small craft advisories south of the island with 6-foot seas. Southerly gales for the Pribilofs, easterly gales St. Matthew Island, seas 20 feet. Easterly gales also for St. Lawrence Island. And Norton Sound northeast at about 20 knots. Then for Tuesday, brisk wind advisories Norton Sound, St. Lawrence Island, all the way down to Nunivak Island. East 15 coming out of Kuskokwim Bay, southeast 25 there for the Pribilofs, and east at 40 for St. Matthew Island with 17-foot seas. Eastern Beaufort Sea coast, light winds tomorrow, west at 5, northwest 10 on the central coast, then northeast 15, west side all the way down to the Bering Strait. Outlook for Tuesday, Wales up to Cape Thompson, northeast 20 knots, and then 25-knot winds from Cape Thompson to Cape Beaufort. Western Beaufort Sea coast there, northeast 15, staying pretty light and kind of variable to north, 5 to 10 knots central and east side. For tonight, again, that dissipating trough continues to slide eastward and slowly dissipate, but they'll kind of hang together a band of light snow or snow showers or flurries here. Northeast Bristol Bay, southern Kuskokwim Valley, and to a lesser extent in the peninsula. Clear and cold here over the interior. Clear areas east side will be anywhere from 35 to 50 below. And this front will continue to weaken as it pushes some moisture into the Fox Islands. Scattered showers, Adak and Atka. Diminishing winds and continuous snow or snow showers for the far western Aleutians. Panhandle dry here. These snow showers will make landfall. Light snow showers tomorrow. East side will stay dry. And chance of snow showers Kodiak up into southern Cook Inlet. Clear and cold in the interior. And for the next day, more clouds and a better chance of snow for the North Gulf Coast, southern Kenai Peninsula, Prince William Sound. And again, remnants of a front here bring some light snow into the southwest interior. Clear and cold up in the north and dry over the southeast coast. That's a look at the weather. Thanks for joining us.
These forecasts are for planning purposes only. Call 1-800-WX-BRIEF for a formal pre-flight briefing. Always file a flight plan before you go flying. The U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary urges you to leave a float plan with a friend or the harbor master before you go boating.